Okay, so you'll notice that the turnaround in the market is not news driven. It's market cycle driven, and the market cycle will tell you before the news happens, right? And then you'll see the news channels, even the independent YouTube channels, they start talking about it here. Like the reason they're saying that Bitcoin turned around was because Trump got shot, right? But when you look at it, this turnaround in the market happened before that crypto pump. And so the chart will lead the news, and they'll find a new reason, oh, Mount Gox, etc. Nah, this is just the movement of money, right? So if you look at this MACD band, it is at the bottom of the channel and just crossing bullish, right? It's just in the process, and this is the daily chart. So this is big amounts of money moving in and out, working according to market cycles, right? And you bet your bottom dollar at the top, when they cross, you're going to hear stories about Bitcoin going higher, right? And so what we're looking for, because there was a major dip, I would look for a big correction. Now, it doesn't always happen necessarily, and there are some macro things that are saying that, we're going to still trend sideways after this pump. That being said, that's a pretty strong movement rejection when the MACD cross. Okay, and so generally, when you see that deep of a V, you're going to see a counter wave, right? So you had a big wave up, right? And this is on the daily chart. So this is going to be a week, moves for weeks, right? Up to a month potentially. So we look into September, really. So what we're looking for is a wave structure out of this. And when you look, this is probably a good example, right? So you have a big push out, and you'll notice this is a big pump up, and then some sideways movement. Oh, can we go down again, etc. But what happened, this is the end. So Bitcoin hasn't been that cheap as far as a risk reward level for several years. So it was that deep of a cut in 2022. Deep cuts there as it dropped down, right? So that we're looking at the last bull market really, and trying to understand where it moves from here. So I expect a big wave up, whether that be pushing towards, I think we're at about 150K this cycle, and so it could be pump, 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 and then that's the end of the cycle. This could be the structure, a parabolic wave up, and a doubling from here, really. And it's curious, or it could be extended. So we could pump up, pump down, etc., move around. So this is a very interesting structure to me as far as the end of the cycle. That being said, I do think we're going to be much higher than this, because the reality of mining and this industry is this is where Bitcoin needs to be profitable from a mining perspective, right? About $60,000, I should say. And so usually it goes beyond that, and usually it collapses back down to the cost of mining. And so 60,000 isn't a bad time to buy, but what the likelihood that will go higher is pretty likely. Now going to the weekly, this is a more interesting structure. From my thinking, on the weekly chart, we're not finished with the bearish momentum. And so this is why going straight up parabolic to me is not necessarily in the card. It may feel parabolic, so we may hit 80,000 or something, but you can collapse back down to 60. But on the bearish chart, or on the weekly chart, you have bearish movements. And so from a weekly perspective, this could be coming down and likely crossing over, pumping back up, and then we're back in a bear market for a couple of years. So this is a good, interesting chart to keep aware of for the longer term. The median term, as far as like a monthly perspective, a good pump up from here is expected. But if you look at this channel, this still feels like it has to complete from a weekly side. So something to watch out for. That being said, if you're trading from a daily standpoint, this looks like a daily uptrend. So, if we want to think about, I think this has upside because it's below the channel. I think this trend is just starting. So whether that be one bump and then coming down. So this is February 9th to the 20th. So maybe 5 more days until a quick turnover. That would be interesting. But we'll see. I'm basically looking for an overshoot and a cross, and we'll see where we get.